She was
I feel like a little kid when I sit in this
Here.
chair. No, this one's
Just
correct.
raise it.
I
There
just
you
have to
go.
raise it. There's one that goes down.
Oh, Wes.
donuts for everyone if we're out of here by 7:30. Alice has a volleyball tournament tonight. Championship game.
Welcome, everyone. I am Kathleen Alder, Mayor of Providence. You're at the Providence City Council meeting for Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. I apologize for being a couple of minutes late. The City Council, we are excusing David Coons. David is out of town and could not join by Zoom, but he'll be here next time, I hope. And we have Carrie Kirk, Janelle Seeley, Brent Speth, and Jeff Nebeker. I have asked Jeff if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise. Repeat the pledge with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Janelle, would you, unless there's someone that would like to say a prayer or give a thought, Janelle Seeley will give a prayer.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day. We're grateful for the opportunity to meet as a community and as a council, and we're grateful for the beautiful place that we live in. We're grateful for the safety and security that we enjoy and for the beauty of the seasons. We're grateful for the opportunity to work together and discuss things and to come to amicable solutions, and pray that might bless us with thy guidance and inspiration as we make decisions, that we can communicate and work together in a cooperative way. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Next, we have, excuse me, council reports. So, Jeff, should we start with you?
Sure. I communicated with Brittany Foster, our contact at the school district office, and she said the construction has begun on the new middle schools and all is going well. If parents are interested in following that monthly construction progress, they can read the newsletters that they put out monthly, and they're still working on a 6th grade committee, so that'll happen later this fall, early winter. Also this January, she talked about they'll be starting 2 other committees that may interest the community. The first committee is the DLI committee, which will determine which secondary schools will house our secondary DLI programs. And the second committee is the Facilities Advisory Committee, which will develop a master facilities plan, including school maintenance, replacement cycles, building replacement, and planning for new schools. So if any parents or citizens are interested in either of those 2 committees, I am not sure how you join them yet, but I will find out, and they sound exciting. So
Jeff, what is a 6th grade committee?
I think it has to do with
Whether they go to a middle school or stay in
right, yeah,
elementary school?
I'm not completely sure on that. I asked previously, but I'll ask again. I'm not sure what she means by the 6th grade committee.
Okay.
Or maybe what school they're going to or something.
Okay.
'Cause
Janelle, you
yeah.
have permission to speak.
I just wondered about the DLI as well. I thought it was my understanding they were going to try and put 2 languages in Spring Creek, but are they still discussing that then?
From this, it just sounds like they'll have a committee, so that sometime in January they'll discuss what they're
so
going to
it's
do
not
with this. It's
decided.
not decided.
Okay.
It does, I mean, if it, according to this, it seems like if it were decided, they might have told me, but where they're gonna form a committee, it sounds like maybe they want more feedback
They're
from
not there
people,
yet. Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. And then a couple of weeks ago, I did about 10 hours of training, but there was a lot of useful information in that 10-hour training that applies to what we do here, so it was good. Anyway,
What, tell us
Okay.
what they covered.
I won't expound on it. It's called general conference, but it was good. There were a lot of things in there that relate to what we do.
Oh, you're talking
the
about general
public's-
conference. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
missed that.
No, a lot of good talks that,
Oh, yeah,
that
we better
relate to
not
what
do
we
that.
do here. So, just being more courteous in our speech to each other and being more unified and
Everyone,
everyone polite.
just
and
us.
just took me back to the dignity index thing. I don't want to go there, but it was a good training. So, I just plan to do better. So,
Okay,
that's all.
thank you. Brent?
So I never got a notification, I don't think Ryan did either, about any emergency management meeting this month. But I did hear an announcement on the radio that Will Lusk has, and the county has connected with an international notification method, international, throughout the world. And Cache County is connecting with that. I've got to look into that more. I do not know what that is, but it sounded like it was more of a networking type thing where disaster in one area can be mitigated in another. I don't know all what about it. So anyway, I got to get into that.
I think it's supposed to be a field trip that we're supposed to go and see where other places are. So you and I would.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we're supposed to schedule a trip to Europe or Asia.
I forgot about that, Ryan. Yeah, that was on the radio. It says Ryan and Brent sign up so we can go. Yeah.
And
I think-
they're gonna fund
perfect.
it, right?
Perfect. Yeah, yeah. I think the one we really were supposed to go, the one in Hawaii. Yeah.
You have the shirt for it.
Yes, I have the shirt for it. So I got my shirt, so I was ready to go. Yeah, anyway. I spent some time with Ryan. We went and visited some of our projects, and it was educational for me. It was informative to me. I'm very happy with the skate park. This evening, I passed the skate park, as most evenings when I'm either coming or going. There's usually somewhere between 50, 75, 100 kids down there. And I got a question about that, about liability, but I'll bring that up later on when we talk about that. I don't want that in council reports. But it was interesting to go up to the well, go to the park, look at the swing sets and stuff that we have, and also talked about bike lanes. So yeah, we had an enjoyable visit and traveling around the city. And thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that very much. It'll be good to spend time with you each month doing things. Appreciate that. That's about all I have.
Thank you. Gina?
Yes, I went down to Spanish Fork to a Fiber Coalition meeting with Ryan. Unfortunately, we had to go the long, slow way, but we made it there.
The long, slow way.
It was long. It's
GPS was off a little bit.
the GPS was not
I thought you
quite
meant
accurate.
as opposed to flying down there.
Oh, well, that too. But anyway, we discussed legislation, and we also discussed best practices with all those other cities, kind of what they do to kind of keep their residents informed in their on their fiber systems, and got some good feedback there. I also spent some time talking to residents. Jeff mentioned the dignity index, but that's something I also reviewed. I even brought my card with me to keep myself on point. And I just think that that we can all work together, and we can do so in a constructive way. And I spent some time on Monday with David Coons and Ryan and some of the city staff reviewing engineering firms, which we'll discuss later tonight. And we had some good discussions there. So that's my report.
Thank you. Carrie?
Okay, so I want to publicly apologize to Jeff and anyone else that I offended in our last meeting. Responding to disrespect with disrespect is never appropriate, and I'm sorry. Jeff and I talked immediately after the meeting, and we are on good terms, and we both expressed regret. It was interesting that before I even left the building, I heard someone on 100 East misinterpret what I had said, and I went back and listened, and you know, the way he heard it was different than what it was said. And so I think, you know, drama can snowball. But being on the council and doing the right thing, even when it's really unpopular, especially in the room, is difficult. And I'm happy to report that I received a handful of thank you emails from people not in the room at the last meeting, who were grateful that I had the courage to motion to put the sidewalk on the property line. I regret that some of the residents on 100 East didn't see making an effort to save the trees, to address the irrigation needs, to preserve historical value as a compromise. But I believe that we're making every attempt to compromise and meet their needs. I've talked to citizens and a lot of youth who are very excited about the skate park and can't wait to have like the full green light. I just wanted to suggest that maybe we post some rules. Like, I've received emails from Ryan, you know, that we're not supposed to be on it yet, but then there's nothing posted. So people, of course, are going to be on it if we're not telling them not to, and maybe even posting the rules with the lights. I received an email, and I think Janelle and Ryan were on it too, from Zach, just saying the skating community will police each other, but we just need to make the rules clear so that they can, and so that people from outside know what they are. So if we could post some of those, I think it would be really helpful. I had lunch at the car show on Saturday, and it was a beautiful day and a fun event. I'm looking forward to attending the lunch for women elected officials next week. And just thanks to the staff for picking up leaves and going the extra mile during this busy time of year.
Is that it? Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I
Yes.
make a comment? With regrets, I inform you that Dave Harrison has passed away. He was one of the great supporters of the car show. He always had his red and white 56 Chiv there. He was president for a number of years. He lives here in Providence, and he passed away on Monday.
So was he at the car show?
No,
He's been
he's
ill.
very sick. He's had dialysis, and he's very sick.
Well, we're sorry. Please let his family know that we appreciate all that he's done over the years. The car show was wonderful. We could not have ordered a better day. There was a nice breeze. The sun was shining. I think there were probably some sunburned people from sitting by their cars. We had 120 cars, which is the most that we've ever had. That is incredible. Shania, what is her last name now? Shania.
I don't know. She still has Laird on her email, so that's
Okay.
what I know. But I know she's married, and he's a really nice guy, but I don't remember her last name.
She did an incredible job. They gave away almost 100 prizes. And if you didn't win, it's your fault because you didn't buy any tickets. Because there were a lot of winners. And it just was a great day to have the people come to Providence. I'd like to see if we can figure out a way to get more people involved. There was a steady stream of people, but I think there could have been a lot more to see those cars, and people go to a lot of effort to bring them. And it's kind of the last of the season, isn't it, Scarlett?
That's what they tell me. They enjoy it. We talked to them a couple of years ago about maybe moving it, and they said, "Oh no, please keep it in October." That's the last car show for up in our area, I guess, and they just kind of take it as a time when all of the car show people can visit and chat with each other. And we also had our city attorney actually has a band, and they are a cover band and do rock music, and the car show
They were
people
there the
tend
whole
to really
time.
they
Yeah.
set their chairs up right in front of them and sing along with them and had a great time. So, and we had a couple of really good food vendors there too. So I think it was a nice day. And um, Dave Harrison, and I just went blank on his wife's name. Brent, you'll have to help me. Sherry?
His wife, Sherry.
Sherry. Yeah, Dave and Sherry were on our committee quite a few years, probably about 10 years back. And they really, the committee that Dave and Sherry were on, and the Fridleys were on that with them. And then there was a bunch of others. I won't go into everybody, but they're the ones that really started to turn it around. And then Shania was able to come on board and build from what they did. But Dave and Sherry really, really helped us with our car show and got it on track. Before that, it was just kind of a little community event that nobody really thought about except for those real local people, as in right here in Providence City. And they got on board, and that committee reached out, and then we got Shania, and it's just mushroomed. So it's been fun to watch it grow.
Well, what I really like is when we have citizens who are involved helping us do things that bring us together as a city. That was my goal when I became mayor, was to make sure that we all felt like we lived in a community that was together. So thank you, Scarlett, for the part that you play in that. It was well done. Shayla was there. I saw Ken coming to empty all the garbages. So it really was a community effort. So we appreciate that. Today I went to a ribbon cutting at the food pantry. They've built a new building behind their building. When they first moved into that, they thought, "Oh my gosh, we've got so much room in here. We'll never need more room." Well, never say never, because they did need more room. So right directly behind their building, they have built a new storage pantry facility, but it has a clean kitchen in it where they can, when we have a lot of food manufacturers here in the valley, and they'll get bulk products, and they've never had a place that they can break those bulk products down so that they can then share with the community. And now they've got a clean kitchen. Sometimes they have a semi-driver that'll call and say, "I've got 6 pallets of lettuce. Can I bring it by?" And he said, well, he would have to say, "I only can take 2. Well, either take all 6 or you can't have any of them. And so now they've got a place, a nice big walk-in refrigerator, a nice big walk-in freezer. So it's added a lot. There are a lot of people in our community who take advantage of the food pantry, but he also, Matt is his name. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the last name. Names are hard to come by today. He wanted to thank the citizens of Providence for their contributions to the food pantry, both in contributing food and funding for them, because they do need things to keep the money in order to keep the lights on. I've been talking with the legislature about getting some funding for the sewer. Ryan and I were just looking at all the businesses and all the housing that we have that is either entitled already or is considering coming into Providence. It's a substantial number, but until we get that sewer fixed, we're going to have a problem. So I've been visiting with them, and they've committed to help us. We've welcomed Ogden Clinic into Providence. They're behind Cook Pharmacy over there. And so they've got, I think, 4 doctors in there, and then all of the staff that it takes to support the doctors. And so we're happy to have them in our community. We have citizens that want to raise money to do additional things in the community. And so we're working with them to see what that would take. We have we're looking to secure money for road improvement. As you know, I'm chair of the CMPO, and on the COG that portions out money for roads in the valley, and we're working around some issues. So we're hoping that maybe we can get our project funded this year. That will be great. That will be a roundabout. Or no, is it the roundabout? It's First South, the widening of First South. We know that with Chick-fil-A,
West of Gateway Drive, not all
It's between Gateway
Right.
and
right, sorry,
Highway 456.
I wasn't very specific. We know that we're going to get a bunch of traffic when Chick-fil-A comes in there. And if you've seen that they're starting to stage things over there, and they're starting with the building. So we're excited to have that, although we know it brings with it a lot more traffic. So we'd like to get that road fixed. When we talk about, and the skate park, it's awesome driving by there and seeing 100 kids in there. I took my little 6-year-old grandson over there, and he was so excited to go, and he got there and saw all the kids, and he went, I can't go on there, which was smart on his part, probably. But it has not been turned over to us. It still belongs to the contractor. And so we haven't gotten a sign off on it yet. So we're working on signage. We're working on all those kinds of things. I'll let Ryan talk more about it in his report. But one other thing I wanted to remind the council about is those of you that go to meetings, and it's not just about reporting what went on in the meetings, it's about talking to them about things that we're doing that would affect them. So I just want to make sure that when you interface with those people that are on the committees, please make sure that you let them know if we have construction of something going on that might impact their organization, or if we have something going on in the city that maybe we want them to let their constituents know that we have a car show going on or we have something else. So let's make it a two-way street so that we're communicating, not only just watching what they do, but we're letting them know what we have going on as well. So that being said, I will close that agenda item. The next agenda item is public comment. I'm sorry?
Minutes.
Oh, because I write all around it and then the minutes get lost. Okay, let's talk about the approval of the minutes for the meeting of September 18th, 2024. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
Okay, I need a second.
of, do I need the date? Wednesday, September
September.
18th, 2024.
I can second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Comments, changes?
I
I-
have,
Oh,
go ahead.
I did send comments into Ty and he made adjustments accordingly.
Are they just like clerical or?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a few changes as well that I thought might be clarifying. And I made copies so that you guys could follow my stuff. Because I think sometimes it's hard to, I will pass one down to
I ended up with no copy, but
Oh, you can
I'll
get
look at yours. That's fine.
my own.
Okay.
It's not- Here you go. Here, you have this one. Yeah, that-
I didn't know if you'd written on yours.
I don't know what to put on. Just for clarity, on line 251, it says, "and continued public opposition to certain infrastructural development." I thought it would be helpful to add, to strike certain and say sidewalk and then add and placement so that it reads, environmental impacts and continued public opposition to sidewalk, infrastructural development and placement. Should we see if anybody have questions item by item, or what do you think?
We can do that. Anybody have comments about that?
Okay. And then on line 253, the word eschewing, I actually had no idea what that word meant. So
And you didn't use it?
I did look.
so I got out my dictionary and I was like, what is that word? I don't know. I don't know what that is. Because anyway, so I thought maybe we could switch it to say eliminating or preventing or giving up on. I'm really open to any of those words because I feel
So
like that makes
one
sense.
of those words.
One of
you're thinking
those
of putting
words.
one in.
So
Okay.
instead of saying addressing public unease without eschewing prioritized safety concerns, saying addressing public unease without eliminating prioritized safety concerns or preventing prioritized safety concerns.
Eliminating works fine.
You guys feel okay about eliminating?
Sure.
Switching those words?
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I was like, I don't know what that word is. I learn something new every day. And then after line 258, I wanted to add Councilmember Seeley discussed the process of potential code changes and the involvement of multiple city committees and groups that would review such applications. And then line.
Just so people in the audience know, we listen to the recordings. And sometimes when we have the minutes, some things get left out. That's why we review them, is to make sure that what we said is clear. So we're just adding this back in.
And then when we started making the motion of what we were going to do, I kind of reordered and grouped things that were just so that it flowed better. So this is how it read before, and this is what I recommend it saying instead. But I did want to ask Carrie a question. Did you say at what level you wanted it brought back to the council? Did you specify that? Because I can't remember, and I started listening to it, but I didn't get all the way through it, that they just bring it back to the council. Do you remember?
Design.
We were talking about 90%. I mean, I don't recall,
That's what I kind of remembered, so I just
but
was,
but I don't know if I don't think that was part of the motion.
okay. So that was part of the discussion, but not
It
the
was
motion.
part of the discussion, but not the motion, I believe.
Okay. All right, so this is what it said, and this is what I'm suggesting that it say. The motion, so this is the first, and then I'll read the change. Motion to move forward with the sidewalk on the property line with consideration of alternate methods of materials on the south end to deal with flooding. Consider methods to preserve the trees in the engineering designs. Consult with State Historic Preservation Society, and before the project goes out to bid, it will be brought before council for review, which will also include the arborist report, and it will be looked at by the city's Historic Preservation Commission. So that's the way it read in the minutes, and then this is how I'm proposing to change that. Motion to move forward with the sidewalk on the property line with consideration of alternate methods and materials on the south end of the defined project area to deal with topographical issues and cost savings. Consider methods to preserve the trees while considering and including the arborist report, and consult with the City Historic Preservation Commission and State Historic Preservation Office in the engineering designs. And 90% design before the project goes out to bid. They should say at, not and, sorry. At 90% design before the project goes out to bid, it will be brought before the council for review. I just feel like that is probably a little more clear.
So it's
Clarifies it.
9%, not 90.
90%,
Okay.
but at instead of and.
I'm sure we confused AI.
This was one that me and Ryan worked on. We drafted it, got with him, and
Need you on the speaker.
pieces of it. So.
Right. Anyway, those are my comments about the minutes. So if anybody wants to,
Okay.
Question on what you're saying, and maybe I misunderstood you. Did you say consider methods and preserve the trees, or to preserve the trees? Because I think on the south end, some of those trees may not be able to be preserved. Is that what you're, and maybe I just missed.
I think it's right.
consider methods to preserve the
To
trees.
preserve. Yeah, because that's what it'd have to be. Not sure that we're going to be able to preserve the trees on that south end if we go to property line. Those trees are crazy in the way, and they're huge. But that's just what we'd have to see with engineering. So to preserve, consider methods to preserve is okay. So that's all right.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second with the caveat, we need to change the
I'm gonna change the
motion.
motion, but I don't know if anybody else has anything else to say.
Any other comments? Okay. Go ahead and amend your motion.
I'll make a motion. I will amend my motion to include the discussions, the items as discussed, the changes as discussed.
Second.
Okay. We have an amended motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Janelle. All right. In the public comment, I will open it for a 3-minute item. Ty, if you'll time, please.
Thank you for all you do. The City of Providence has a standard that needs to be followed, and I try to respect that. We have the opportunity to create compromise within the city, and we're made up of really good people. We can look at both words and actions and change the narrative before we have to look back and wish we had said or done something differently. It is for this reason that I sought guidance from the League of Towns and Cities as to how to address my concerns to the city officials of Providence. September 18th City Council meeting was a disappointing look for the City of Providence and its officials. I would like to address the lack of decorum displayed by our city officials. We have, as citizens and humans, are better than what we demonstrated in an official City Council meeting. As city officials, I feel you missed an opportunity to show concerned citizens and future generations how a city official is poised and processional. Council members have been interrupting, bullying, shaking their heads, and rolling their eyes at each other, not just in this meeting, but in public chatter and council meetings previous to that one. Words matter, actions matter. Publicly gloating about how you feared for your life, how angry and stupid the people on 100 East are, is not a good look for the city, and it creates a fabricated, unhinged view of the citizens of Providence. Projection, verbal lashings, and insinuations from city officials to concerned citizens, assuming we don't consider the safety of our children, is ridiculous and hypocritical. How wonderful is it that we are a group of people that care about the safety and historical character of our city. For the first time on July 26th, we parked our fifth wheel in front of our house to pack for a trip. There is 6.5 feet on the walking side closest to the trees and 4 feet on the street side. But one day, we parked our cars perpendicular on the parking strip to help us pack the camper. Is the one day Google Earth happens to take new photos of our address. 98% of the time, there is no one parked in the parking strip, but I find it interesting and convenient for a city official to use the new photo as a baseline response to citizens of Providence concerned about placement of sidewalks. Had Google Earth taken the photo the day before or the day after, the scene would look entirely different. I feel we, the citizens of Providence, have a right to ask questions and express our thoughts without pause on plans that have been implemented, sometimes covertly, plans that will affect our homes and this amazing community in which we live. I sincerely appreciate the work that you put into the city. I do. And we all work to continue to make our city a desirable place to live. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I know her, but she needs to say her name.
Oh, I'm sorry, you did not say your name.
Yeah, it's just,
I missed that.
I'm sorry. I'm Terry Davies.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
I would love to speak.
State your name.
My name is John Cartsoni, and thank you for having me. It was pleasant to hear the exchange at the first part of the meeting, because all members of our society need to hear that. So thank you. So you will hear, I was under the impression that my request for an ordinance amendment would be heard tonight. I've now found out it's delayed until November 16th. In a nutshell, I'm asking that the commercial parking be permitted for vehicles to park on the street as early as 8 a.m. from the months of November 15th through May 15th, only in the commercial corridor. This affects me and the business that I own on 465 North, just around the corner at Cobblestone. All of the physicians and business owners and proprietors over there agree it is imperative that our employees can park on the street so our senior citizens, our patients, and our clients have adequate parking near the building as a safety issue. So you will receive the application in the next 30 days. Unfortunately, the present ordinance takes effect November 15th. I'll be here on the 16th. Thank you for your time.
Okay, you know that our next meeting in November is the 20th.
I do now. I'm simple. Comes the
I hope it's not on the
30 days.
16th. You'll be running the meeting because I'll be out of town.
I probably will
Yeah.
be also, so that creates a dilemma. So there's my case.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. I'll close that portion of the meeting and we'll go to the public hearing. So item number 2, boundary line adjustment with Logan City. The Providence City Council will take comments and questions regarding the request for a boundary line adjustment between Logan City involving parcels 02-005-004, 0004, 02-005-005, and 02-005-0010. So I will open a public hearing if there's anyone here to talk about this boundary line adjustment. Scarlett, do you want to say anything about it? For those that might be listening online.
A few years ago, Stan Checketts and Scott Watterson got together and looked at a property line. There was a fence, an existing fence, and they both agreed that the property line should follow the existing fence rather than the legal description the way it was presented. And so, because there were, I don't know all the ins and outs, but I think there were some questions about the way the legal description was presented too. At that point in time, they entered into a boundary line agreement, the two of them did, or excuse me, not a boundary line agreement, a property line agreement, and changed the property lines. It happened to run along the municipal boundary between Providence and Logan City. And so we as Logan City, they were very upfront with us about what they were doing. They actually kept a jog because a development along that property line had already developed, and it had developed to the property line is described in the legal description rather than the fence. And so they agreed to jog the property line so that it didn't negatively impact that development. And they worked with the county recorder at the time. They worked with a representative from Logan City, and we as Providence said, okay, do we and Logan need to do a boundary line adjustment? And they said, actually, no, we're really following what was originally supposed to be there, and so we're putting it right. It's more a matter of illustration, and now we're getting it correct. Several years later, property stands, the Checkett's, Stan Checkett's LLC sold property to another developer. And that developer went through the process of a subdivision. And when they went to record the plat, we now have a different county recorder. And that county recorder, apparently the documentation maybe was not as clear as it should have been from those previous discussions. But the new county recorder said, whoa, 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 part of this plat is in Logan City. Logan City's got to sign the plat. In order for Logan City to sign the plat, they'd had to go completely through the subdivision process with Logan City. And so what the developer did is said, well, I'll take the 2 lots off the plat that are impacted, and we will get this boundary straightened out. We'll record the plat, the Providence portion of the plat. We'll get the boundary straightened out, and then we'll come back with a subdivision plat for those other 2 lots. And that worked with us as the city as well. So their engineers met. They met with representatives of Logan City. They met with the county. They felt like it was important to make clarification and to memorialize properly the agreement that had taken place between Stan Checkett's and Scott Watterson. So that is what this is doing. Now, there's actually some disagreement. You may hear from some surveyors out there that say this is not necessary, that what we did back in the several years ago was adequate. However, to cross our T's and dot our I's, we are here doing that. Now, one thing that I would like to mention is that the description is slightly different from the original one. They're actually, as you can see the cross-hatched line along the bigger strip. And then if you look to the west of that bigger strip of cross-hatched line, you'll see a small hashed line. That's actually an adjustment that was not originally shown, but is now being shown. It was called out in the legal descriptions, but not, it was called out in the beginning long ago legal descriptions, but not in the more recently ones. And so the developers surveyor and the Logan City surveyor and all got together and made sure, it's my understanding from all of those involved that this is now going to be correct. It will show what it will correctly record what everyone has agreed to. So that's the difference between what you saw originally, or what you saw originally when in the posting versus what is here today. But it is not changing anything on the ground. It's not a significant change. So I talked to our city attorney. Since it's what we thought we were doing all along, it just wasn't in the picture. Now that everything is all equaling, we wouldn't need to redo anything because it was what we actually thought we were doing when we posted originally. So Ty has included the new legal description in the ordinance. Is that correct, Ty? So he's included the legal description that matches this illustrate. Excuse me, matches this illustration right here. So that is what this is. This is more of a housekeeping item than what we've done in the past with Millville, where we've actually truly changed the boundary. In this case, the boundary was already changed. We're just catching up with with the documentation at the county.
Okay. Thank you, Scarlett. With that explanation, any public comment? Do we have anything, Ty? Do we have?
I checked before I came in here. No.
Okay. All right. So not having any comments, we will move forward. We'll close item number 2, go to item number 3. This is the boundary line adjustment. This would be where we would take action. So I will, include the numbers in whoever makes the motion on this. I will entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion that we accept item number 3, ordinance 21-2024, boundary line adjustment with Logan City.
With parcel numbers.
Parcel numbers 02-005-0004, 02-005-005, and 02-005-0010.
Okay, we have a motion.
I just ask a clarifying question. I mean, I'll second and then a little question.
Do the second first.
I'll second. Is the second parcel supposed to have 4 digits on the end? Is it supposed to have 3 zeros?
Yes.
Okay, that's all.
Don't want to get the number wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's go to item number 4. This is ordinance 19-2024, amendments to the PCC Providence City Code 10-8-3 on setbacks. The Providence City Council will review, discuss, and may take action on an ordinance that amends City Code 10-8-3 setbacks. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on October 9th, and recommended that we pass this. So, any questions on it? Scarlett, do you want to make any comment on it?
If you listen to the Planning Commission, the staff report was reviewed in the Planning Commission. What we're actually doing is state code made some changes in the rear yard setback rules. Providence City's code was not impacted, other than we are incorporating the definition that state code in defining what a landing is, and we're incorporating that into our setbacks. We were already generous with our rear yard setbacks. We're a little fussy on the side yard setbacks, I will admit that, but we are quite generous on our rear yard setbacks, and so we're just being consistent with state code in what we're calling our features that can be in the setback.
Okay. Mostly housekeeping.
Mostly housekeeping.
Okay. Okay.
Madam Chair, I was just wondering, is this, in this setback, are they allowed to cover it?
Yes.
They are allowed to put a
Yes,
covering over
I
it.
think the problem was that some cities were so strict that when they built certain homes that needed a rear entrance, they weren't able to adequately, because the building code has a requirement for how big those landings are, as you know from working in the building department many years ago, and they couldn't adequately build what they needed to. And so state code felt like we should be a little more lenient in the rear yard and asked that, and they just said, we will do that. We'll allow those landings, no larger than 32 square feet, which really isn't very big in the grand scheme of things. So,
Sometimes they become necessary for an accessible entrance,
right.
and that's why it's great to have allow them to be covered.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion.
I think we have a motion, don't
Do we?
Jeff, didn't you make a motion?
No, but I will.
On the last
I'll
one?
make a motion that we accept or amend ordinance 19-2024 PCC 10-8-3 setbacks. Is that all I need
Okay.
to say?
So we have a motion
I'll second it.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Go to item number 5, ordinance 20-2024, amendments to PCC 11-3, plat procedures and requirements. Providence City Council will review, discuss, and may take action on an ordinance that amends City Code 11-3, plat procedures and requirements. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on October 9th. So this is for us to take action. So anyway, any discussion on it?
You want a motion first?
We can do a motion.
I would make a motion that we approve ordinance 20-2024, amending the plat procedures and requirements for subdivision regulations.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I didn't give Scarlett an opportunity to talk about this one. Do you think the explanations are all there?
They are.
And we listened to the Planning Commission, and so they've sent it on to us for approval. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion on it? Again, housekeeping to make sure that we're in compliance with the state. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving right along. Item number 6 is the appointment of a new city engineer. Ryan, you want to bring us up to speed on this and tell us what was decided by the committee?
Yeah, or Janelle's a great one that can talk on it as well. We met, Janelle and David and I, Rob and Scarlett, as a group reviewed. We had 2 engineers submit, Sunrise Engineering and Forsgren Associates, and we have had you have seen Sunrise's experience. And we have utilized them for our water and sewer master plans. We went through their proposal, and at that point, through all the detail of what we talked about and discussed, it was a unanimous recommendation to go with Sunrise Engineering. I think it's the one we know they proposed. And they have a vast experience base, but we also talked that we would like to reach out to Forsgren and see if we can't get them to partner on a project or two, so we can get to know some of their work a little bit better. And because we'd like to have multiple engineers doing some type of work, so that we have a continuous relationship with various engineers. So, but as we talked, our recommendation would be to go with Sunrise Engineering for our city engineer.
You need a vote from us.
I need a vote from you.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we hire Sunrise Engineering as our new city engineering firm.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any questions anybody wants to ask? Yes.
So in the event we have a conflict of interest, if Sunrise comes in and does some private engineering on a home, parcel of property or something, what's our backup procedure?
Well, we have relationship with JUB. We have some relationship with Works, although they didn't present to be the city engineer. And we have some relationship now with Forest Green. We could reach out with any one of those firms in the case of a conflict.
Is it on Sunrise to disclose that they're working on both projects?
Yes, it's on Sunrise to disclose the conflict.
Okay. Jeff?
I was just wondering if Janelle had any further insight into Sunrise from her meeting.
I think Ryan articulated it pretty well, but I think some of the things that were really stand out to me, we talked about the depth of the staff. Day to day, what we use the engineering firm for is a lot of plans and site plan reviews. We still go out to bid for all of our major construction projects. So I just felt like if there was things that they didn't show as much experience on in their proposal that they presented, that would be addressed on those individual bid processes. But as far as their planning depth, I think that it'll be really beneficial to what they have. I know they've done some work for us interim between CRS, which got bought by Horrocks, going, and the staff is really pleased with their work. They also have an in-house attorney that does planning, which I think is being really beneficial since we will go from a 5th class to a 4th class city pretty quickly as far as population goes. So we'll have different requirements from the state. And I think they'd be really good to keep us up to speed on what those nuances and extra rules are. So that was my feeling about it.
Ryan, remind us what the break off point is from a 5 to a 4.
10,000. So we're right at about 9,500. We expect to hit 10,000 by the end of the fiscal year, potentially.
Yeah. Unless we don't get the sewer done.
Unless we don't get the sewer done, and then that will delay us.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Oh, I just want to add one more thing. Since David isn't here, but one of the things that really stood out to him, we thought we were surprised as far as the price breakdown sheet that there was, I think, more educational background with the Sunrise. So we thought they would be more expensive, but they actually will be less expensive than Forest Green. So that was one of the things he pointed out in our discussion.
Okay. We ready? All in favor?
I
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We don't have any other plans or business, no study items. So we'll go to the staff reports. And you all remember that we said Ryan could take care of most of that.
If you have questions for the rest of the staff, you're welcome to. I'll just kind of lead that, and then if there's anything specific they'd like to cover, we can do that.
It doesn't sound like that mic is on.
They're all on.
Oh, okay.
I can get really close.
Now it sounds
But-
like it's on. I'm just thinking about the people that might be online.
Being tall, I have to get down to it, so I'll try to do that.
Adjustable podium.
We had an excellent car show. Scarlett and her team do an amazing job with that.
Yes.
I went and just a record turnout. It is an amazing job. They do a great work there. We should be proud that we have such an activity. And she's right, it's the last one. I've talked to some of the other guys that are car show enthusiasts, and they really like, as she said, they really like to have one at the end. And Providence is known for that. We're known to be kind of the last one that they go to and wrap up, and then they take their car and clean it really well at home and put it away for the winter, and bring it out in spring. You've seen some of the code amendment and things that Ty has been working on and doing a great job. We have a great great recorder, and his research and work is amazing in that. One of the first to really get to the AI. I mean, I think he is leading the charge in that, and you should be proud that we have a staff that is willing to learn and develop on the cutting edge of that. Cutting edge. We also have a fiber network that continues to grow. We have our maximum amount of, we have the highest amount. We continue to grow each month, a record subscriptions, and we continue to grow. We are the fastest network out there. Google Fiber only goes to 8. We can go to 10 gig. And as we go to the meetings, we are poised to be in a great position. Some of the other ones are more of a lightning rod because they're bigger than we are, and we appreciate that they'll take that on and plow the way in a lot of different areas. So anyway, I have been to the USU. I don't know whether you know, but USU uses our baseball field for their baseball games, and it is fun to watch them. They're doing a great job, and our fields are looking amazing. You should be proud for that, and be able to attract USU on that field says quite a bit. And the skate park we've talked about, it is amazing. It looks great, and hopefully you've all been there to look at that. We do have a few items that we're trying to get done. There is a huge excitement about it, and we believe there's a lot of safety in being able to use what they do use. Officially, we're trying to get the county building official to sign off on the last final inspection and certificate of occupancy. He didn't show up today. He might have, but I didn't contact me, so I'm still trying to communicate. So anyway, we're trying to finish that. We have rules that we're working on designing and getting that up. We've always shot for the end of October for an opening for things like that. But the excitement is just
Holding them back is hard.
At this point, you have to draw and say, do we hold back, and what does that gain to us, or do we keep going at and trying to accomplish? The landscaper was there today. The fencing was there today. We are working with trying to get the inspector there to finish up these. We have scheduled the porta potty to go. They have scheduled the equipment to be taken. So we are working as quick to finish it. But as soon as hunger was out, and it is just so tempting, and at that point, there's a balancing act between that and trying to lay down the law and just simply working with good, excited kids. And we've taken the approach of working with good, excited kids. And so we're going to work around that.
We want to do a soft opening, just a ribbon cutting with the people who signed the petition and with city leaders and things like that. And then in the spring, when it looks really pretty, we're going to do demonstrations and games and all kinds of things going on. So we just want to do a soft opening. Jeff, you have a comment?
I was just curious if who is the company that built it?
Hunger Skate Parks.
They have, I don't know, it's probably a weird question, but is there any warranty on?
Yeah. Yeah, there is. There is.
Stuff falling apart.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll crumble. Well, maybe it won't.
Well, we hope not.
How those work, but
yeah, at this point, we have a warranty period.
they'll come patch stuff up.
Yeah, they'll come back and patch things up. They have their name on it. I mean, if you look, they have a stamp. They have a couple of stamps they put in the concrete. It is a signature piece for them.
Yeah.
They're vested in this for a long term because their name is on it in a couple of very prominent spots. and because they did so well for Hiram, that's where their reputation came, and they have that reputation to come back. So I think we'll watch throughout the winter and into the spring, and then when it gets close to that year mark, we'll make sure we take a list of whatever there might be and get with them to fix anything that there might be out. So yes, there's a warranty period. So.
Do you know what I was impressed with? And that is that when Ryan went over to do a punch list after construction, you always have a punch list and you always have a big long list of things to do. There was hardly anything.
And they worked very diligently to get those done.
They were so professional and did such a great job. Brent, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I was just wondering, first off, I was just wondering, have we consulted with our attorney? Do we need to post a not liable for accidents? Is there any precaution? And I thought of that. I thought of also our splash pad. You know, if somebody slips, falls, hits their head. I'm just wondering, where does all that lie?
In the Utah Governmental Immunity Act is where it lies.
So we don't have to worry about
We have a governmental immunity on city park property. Do we want to make sure notice and help people to understand and appreciate that? Certainly. Do we want to help them to understand the rules so that they can be safe? Certainly. Do we have insurance that fits if we have any liability? Certainly. But ultimately, a lot of that park, it fits under the Utah Governmental Immunity Act.
I know that if there's not negligence, we're pretty much in the clear. But if there's something that we're negligent on, which as we walked it, I couldn't see any issue with it, whatever, of course, and you have too. But I just want to make sure that maybe the public understands the position of the city.
Yeah, the minute anybody gets hurt, we'll just close it down for everybody. Just close it.
Cement it over, fill it in. Why don't we fill it in the wintertime with water and we skate on it?
It is cement, and people are going fast.
So. But that one person that made it close for everybody else will think twice. No, we are looking at that.
Recording
there is other skate parks and you know, we try to have fun things for lots of different things. We've added pickleball, we've added skate park, we're continually looking to add. On adding, we've finished the Alma Lenhart, the seed and grow, and that grass is growing nicely now. So if you haven't seen that extra couple of acres of grass, that's great, good green space. Today we had a dozer over in the Thompson field. You may get questions about that, but we had Visionary and their company come and offer us to have some dirt, and they were trying to move some dirt. And we said, yeah, that's fine. So we brought them back today with a dozer just to try to level that out so that we can get ready to eventually put in a soccer, lacrosse, and football field that we're hoping would have full high school size. So that's the hope, and trails on both the east and the west side, which is what the master plan shows. So we'll be following that. So that's our hope. So we have finished the paving and repair of the water leak at up on Fox Ridge. The house at 300 East and 200 North has been demolished and cleared. Thankfully, we found that there wasn't asbestos there, and so the cost was significantly lower than what we had originally anticipated, which was great. But that area is cleaned up. Those abandoned houses with broken windows start to attract the unsavory eventually, whether it had or not, but it will attract those. So we were able to get that done. That was part of the budget and part of the projects. So on First East, just to give a kind of a report there, we talked a little bit about that in the Historic Preservation Commission. We'll take it officially on their agenda as the motion is. We have gotten a draft of the Arborist report back. It's not considered final or public, because there is some modification that may need that. We're trying to get the engineer and the environmentalist up to the same point in reports, so that they can weigh in question, and so that when the final report comes, if there's questions or issues, those reports can, those professionals can be simultaneous in that. And so when the report comes back to you before it goes out to bid, we will have had our intent is to have the environmental work done, the SHPO, the State Historical Society done, in engineering, the arborist, and reviewed with the Historic Preservation Commission. So when we bring that back, we'll bring that back in a form that you can look, determine what the direction is, and I think there's room for compromise with structurability, whether that is depth of the sidewalk. You'll find that that'll be one of the possible items, and just reducing the depth we go. Normally a sidewalk is a 4-inch sidewalk with a 4 inches of base. We're talking 8 inches. You figure if you have grass at 3 and you take it out, you're only a 5-inch base. You know, might be able to reduce that. Anyway, called root bridging, and we're looking into that. But at that point, those reports will all come back to the council. I don't have an ETA of that yet, but we're trying to get all of those things worked out so that we can bring it back as the motion that you've clarified is applicable. Anyway, Ty, did you have anything else you wanted to cover?
Still moving forward with the hiring of a new judge. Still working on getting the committee together, so we haven't had anything set yet. So again, expecting new year, we'll finally have a new judge.
The mayors have been asked to provide names of someone that they would like to have appointed to the commission. It's a 4-year appointment, and so it affects Providence, River Heights, and Millville. And so I called them especially and said, this is going to affect you. I didn't talk to Stephanie, but I did send her the letter to see if they have someone, and the mayors will vote on that next Monday. So I've been in contact with Jim, so he knows.
Okay. Scarlett, anything else particular you want to cover? Okay. Go ahead.
Really quick. We're just waiting on our attorney to approve our citation, our in-house citation. So Mary has not, even though the ordinances were passed, Mary's not been able to issue yet because we're waiting on approval for that citation. Ty did get the shared master offense table. We got that approved through the state, correct, Ty? Mm-hmm. So that's all updated. So as soon as if you're wondering why Mary hasn't done that yet, we're waiting on the attorney. We'll work on getting that from him in the next week or so.
Great.
Another thing that we are working on is the well drilling. Just to give an update on the drilling of that well that's up there. It seems like it has gone on for quite a while, and maybe you've felt that as well, and maybe you've heard that from other residents. Just a few things to kind of it has kind of been a series of unfortunate events, if I could call it that. Just to go back in time and to kind of catch up anybody that might be listening or have questions. So they had started the test well down. That was going well, and then they hit water. The water was sufficient enough to bring the static water up. I think we got down to 400 or 500 feet, and the static water came up to 160, 180 feet. And it kind of collapsed in the well. So then they had to pull out their equipment and retool.
This was last fall, right?
Yeah, last
Okay.
fall. and so then they retooled and started a different method, and that different method, because of changes, we lost we were initially doing 3 test wells. Because the cost had changed, then we dropped the EC test well, which was our least promising with the sewer line placement. And so we proceeded forward within the budget, but having to cut out some of the number of test wells we'd have. Then their drilling rig blew up, or I think that's the term I'm going to use. They may have a better term, but I'm going to use that because it's a little dramatic, but it seemed pretty dramatic. And so then they got a part, they put it in, same thing happened, and then they had to take the drilling rig and try to find other parts, so they took it back off site, and we've tried to find parts, but weren't able to, so it's still sitting somewhere. So they brought in another rig and started drilling with that rig in the same hole to try to widen it. It got down to a 350-foot depth, something like that. And they were putting the casing in. The casing fell to the bottom of a 1,000-foot well. They went to fish it out. The fishing got stuck, and so they weren't able to get it out. And ultimately, they filled in the well. So they went 50 feet to the south and started over. But at that point, none of that is at our cost. The only cost difference we've had is the change in soil environment during our test well that eliminated off the egg tank. We are now into production of that well. Our study and engineering of it went well. We are back down to around the 400-foot range. Things are going well. We're drilling through and getting it down. It's looking really good. We're going to have a great well. We expect the static water to be between 180 and maybe 220 feet, somewhere in there. We'll put our screens down at the 800 to 900 foot range, and so we'll be pulling water off of that. But because it's porous, and we knew it was porous, porous is good in a well. It's not good in drilling. So we're highly ecstatic. In our worst spot is as good or better than Hyde Park's best spot for what they saw. So we're excited about that. We're projecting maybe 2,000 to 3,000 gallons a minute to be able to be produced out of this well, which would put it probably our highest producing well.
I was going to say, what is our other highest?
Yeah, I think the
Producing
next
well.
one, maybe 2,500. What's that? Dales, I think, is the next highest, and I think it's in that same type of ballpark range. And so we're hoping it'll feed right into the dew tank, and we'll be able to chlorinate and go there. Now this particular project will complete the well. Then we have a well house, a pump station, chlorinating. We have a lot to this project, but this project has seemed to take a long time. They've been great to work with. Hydro's been great to work with. There's been some pieces on their well, on their drilling, but they've been excellent to work with. We meet with them every week to get an update, and but they are working around the clock to be able to finish, and they're hoping to finish everything we want is to finish by the end of the month. We want to finish the skate park by the end of the month. We want to finish the well by the end of the month. We want to finish a lot of things, but it may not be this month, but the end of a month we'll finish some of these projects.
Merry Christmas, right?
So anyway, lots of things happening. We're trying to continue the work that you've given us and follow the budget, and so
I appreciate the patience you've had to deal with on that well. That's a struggle. Has Rocky Mountain Power already put sufficient power up to the tank? Or we got to do that yet?
For the tank, yes. For the well, no.
Okay.
That's part of the That's part of the well house piece of the project.
Okay.
So that'll come when we have a well house. So
Is that something we also have to foot the bill for, or will they do that
no,
in return for the utilizations?
no, we'll do it.
Okay, all right.
We'll do it. That would be nice, but we'll do it. But lots of development, lots of things happening, as you see from our plans. We're trying to keep up with the state just in time to finish up some of these changes and to go into the legislature again and see what they can stir up. So anyway, any questions you have for me? Anything I can help or answer for you? Anything you've noticed or had questions about? Any resident feedback you're getting that I can address here if you'd like. Let's give me a record.
One
to get out.
question.
Oh,
Trying to do a record meeting here. Keep it short.
Okay. I just wondered, I know it had been talked about back and forth about potentially doing turf over there on the Thompson portion of Zollinger's. Is that is that fleshed out, or we're looking to make a high school sized grass field? I didn't know.
I'm hoping that means you're making a contribution because that's all we're looking for. Is we're looking for money. If we had money, I think we could do it. At this point we're planning grass. We've kind of got funding for our grant for grass, and so the plan is kind of grass.
What is the cost difference between grass and turf? Like double, quadruple?
It's about,
a lot.
it's about 10 times the amount.
Okay.
You can generally get, because you have to have sprinkler either way because it cools anyway you have to
Yeah.
wash it, and you don't use as much water, but there's not a lot of savings or drainage or whatever. So sprinkler wise and prep wise is a lot similar. But to put down sod, I think it's pennies per square foot, and it's $10 per square foot of turf. To give a perspective, Hiram is putting down turf just on their infield and the sides, and that's I think approximately 250,000 is the number I heard for just the infield, and their kind of sidelines. That's on one diamond. Yes, one diamond. Yes.
I feel really good about sod.
So
About grass.
we got 2 acres of Elmo Linhart for less money than they're paying for doing the turf there. So turf is a lot cheaper. It's probably a tenth of the cost. Somewhere in there.
Grass is a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Turf.
Yeah, grass.
The
is a-
turf was a lot cheaper.
Oh yeah, grass, turf,
The
live turf versus artificial turf, to be probably more specific. But artificial turf is about 10 times the cost. But if we could get the extra couple $1 million, I think it'd be great. I would love to see it and do that project. I'd love to learn how to do that project and would be happy to, but it's a cost problem.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to take that as my cue to be done.
Okay, I have one more item that I forgot. David Zook is the chair of the Cache Community Connection, which was put together years ago by Doug Thompson, the Logan mayor. And Cache Community Connections was born and given a mission to unify, educate, and inspire a community with growing diversity in background, experience, culture, religious beliefs, and aspirations. He's put out a call for more of the municipalities to participate and come to the meetings. I'm not sure exactly what that means in terms of time commitment. They do have a meeting once a month, I believe, but I think it's good for us to participate in things in the valley. They do things like the summer tabernacle concert series, Thanksgiving interfaith service, Martin Luther King remembrance, Earth Day celebrations, supporting loaves and fishes, community meals, and more. So if anybody has an interest in going to that, I may go the next meeting is October 16th.
That's
No,
today.
That's today.
was that today?
Yeah.
Okay, so then there'll be another one next month.
Always
Never
another
mind,
one.
erase that.
There's always another one.
Just if you find out things like that, maybe just send out the dates, and then if it works for us, we can help.
So if anybody is willing, I'm not sure that it needs to be the same one every time, but it would be nice to have Providence represented and just see what's going on and how we can participate in the Valley. I'm getting pretty full up of going to committee meetings, and I'd like to share the wealth.
Yeah, I don't mind going occasionally,
Okay.
but not every time.
Well, let's see if maybe we can share it between the whole council so that we can bring that back and share what's going on in the Valley, because I think it's important for us to support what's going on. Okay. This was a much calmer meeting. I like that. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, we got a
I'll
motion.
second it.
Second. Any discussion?
Aye.
All in favor?
I